Hello, everybody, welcome, huh? Who's a psychic investigator? Hello, huh? Everybody, welcome. Who's a psychic investigator? So, guys, I'm back. I'm back, and uh, and it's good to be with you. And though I told you it's been the intensity of the garbage going on with this administration, I feel it strongly. So, at times, it has been difficult, especially considering, all the changes in my situation, in my family, everything. It's, I find it interesting. No, really, seeing all of this happening, and I just did a reading about let me plug in, make sure here there's plugging. I just did a reading about Trump's disclosure of his his buying stocks. And what a coincidence, right? That it aligns with all of the stocks he's been pumping and some of the companies he took to China. What's interesting is that the corruption, we find that it's so aligned and it's so overt, but at the same time, we really reach the end here, right? It's like it can't be put back into the bottle. And one of the ways that I think change is happening, and it may seem like, oh, we can think of this is a very negative thing, right? What's happening with this person is doing. But on the other hand, I think people are coming together. And one of the things that is happening, one of the areas where you could see this is I think, broad opposition to data centers, right? We have I think it's essentially at this point bipartisan opposition of data centers. People don't want data centers in their community for various reasons. One of them is that these data centers are taking water, and water is the most vital element that we need to survive. Like, we can do without food, but we can't do it without water. And these things are literally taking our water. And I was randomly, something came on my feed because you may or may not know this, that I'm an AI hater. I hate the AI bubble. I hate the bullshit they push. And something came on my feed that was actually pro AI, and it's some guy interviewing these people inside a data center, kind of like praising it. But the first thing you notice is that everybody's talking with headphones on, with those, like, almost, the thing with the microphone. Why? Because it's so loud, right? You can't talk to each other. Of course, all those, including the program I use for editing, they can block the noise, but you can't take it away visually. You could see how, even for the people they're trying to pump, it's just a horrible thing. And I think this is key. I think they cannot force us to do certain things, and this is something that has worked out. This worked. People are stopping these data centers, and it's not the usual people that they like to blame as the quote unquote left. It's often, a lot of times, people that come from some money, even, and they're just not having it. Well, the reason, right? Thank God for them, for everybody who's resisting. Because nobody should accept this. So my question, I'm going to show you a few, when I did the Google search, you could see all these articles that are out there. Like, it's so great. And here we have a Gallup poll finds strong opposition to local data centers. A new Gallup poll finds 71% of Americans oppose building AI data centers in their local communities, with nearly half strongly opposed. Environmental concerns, especially water and electricity consumption, were the top reasons cited by opponents. The backlash could complicate the rapid expansion of AI infrastructure as tech companies race to build more computing capacity. Now, I follow this person who I think is probably the biggest AI bubble skeptic. His name is Ed Zitron. I subscribe, I pay for his newsletter. I love it. And one of the things it says is that these AI data centers, they're not even fully finished. It's a lot of those people that are pumping, especially the stock market idea of AI, which is false, right? it's like all these random stocks that they just like what happened with crypto. Like, oh yeah, it's AI. And then the price goes up, and then usually Trump family involved in something, right? And then it's like it's not even real. They're sacrificing the well-being. Like they like if you don't have water, not only that, you're gonna increase the price of electricity. And we have seen that AI, for whatever, I don't even believe that it actually is like. Wait, I had to press the button because I wasn't sure I was recording. But anyway, the point being that the claim, like all these, there's all these layoffs, and they say it was because of AI. I think it's just an excuse to fire people, honestly. Because, for example, one of the biggest users of AI supposedly are developers, and all these companies are pushing, almost like forcing people to use these AI things, and it creates more work for people. It is really not as what they, is not as helpful as they claim. And it's definitely not useful, and it's definitely not like what the internet was, because everybody wanted, remember, the internet was great when it came. It was exciting, it was fun. This is not it, okay? I think if down the line AI will develop a lot of capabilities, but even those LLMs, the structure of the AI programs they have now, it really cannot innovate in the way they are selling it. Okay, it's a lie. So anyway, I'm saying all of this because I want to get to the question. Simple question: how are we gonna move away from this bullshit, the AI center bullshit? Okay, the AI data center. So the question, I want to see AI data centers versus humanity versus Americans. Okay, let's just say humanity is the entire world, but who's gonna win? I think I know the answer. The answer is the people, we the people. So tell me the showdown between the AI data centers, they're old oligarch bullshitters, and what's going to happen, because there's so much opposition. By the way, one of the worst people in the world, David Sachs, he is really doing this terrible, like he was working in the Trump administration. He was pushed out, supposedly. He's close to Elon Musk, and he was trying to push these laws that made it like obligatory to have AI rules and all that, and of course he's pushing data centers. But even the Republicans, even Trump had to turn around because Republicans know how unpopular this is, and what a total disaster it is for them if they embrace this thing, because they're seeing the numbers, they're seeing how bad it is for them. So they're having to turn around because of the data centers. So having said that, I need the protection. I like to ask for protection. A beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I feel my lungs as I breathe out. I create a circle. I create a circle. I step into it. As I step into it, I feel protected. I feel connected. I like to ask that information come only from the highest sources that could create the good and all the good and sodas. So this selenite, I was, I went to my bed area over there because where I'm sitting, the internet signal is terrible. I have to go closer to the door when I edit the videos. Long story. So I left my rings over there. So my black rings were there. So I'm just sitting here. I'm using this one. It's also good. It also protects. But anyway, let's go. So show me the showdown between essentially the data centers, the pump and dump with the data centers, the American population, and the AI bubble in the stock, because it's actually triangulated. The stock market manipulation related to so-called AI, the data centers they're pushing, because data centers it's a long story. It's like there's a lot of circular finance related to this. So tell me, how does this progress forward? How does this progress forward? Interesting. Yeah. No, I see that. Wow. It's saying, Rosie, there is a lot of real estate related to these transactions. And of course, this is mob related because, Trump is involved in this also. So they're buying land, they're building these like huge warehouses. And it is kind of empty because it's also that the thing that they need to fill these warehouses with, these like NVIDIA chips, they don't have enough of those, and it takes too long, and those things go obsolete also. So I see that it's these giant warehouses, there are a lot of them are empty, And it's a massive speculation project. It's saying they're selling it as if it's the railroad or the trains, when they have they first built that. But it's not really like that at all. It's saying people jumped on it, the stock market people, some of these huge AI companies, because there's speculation. And most of it is saying, it shows me that these empty warehouses, and I see, interesting, in the future they're gonna have a lot of raves inside the data center raves. Because, by the way, long story, I know my random interest. So, in the UK in the 1980s, there was an explosion of raves. There was connected um to Margaret Thatcher, and a lot of this, like, depression in working class areas related to these changes by the right wing government. So it's just interesting, because I see, it's funny, it shows me that there will be raves in the future inside the giant data center raves. So gonna get, because it's empty, it's gonna sit empty. Wow. And then I see gardens and communities building, right? The okay, that we're gonna build actual housing inside, either in the areas of, like, the land, or they're gonna have take down the actual data centers and build housing around it. So interesting. So it's saying, I see, wow, Trump going down, people arrested because it's a mob racket, these, especially the real estate part of it. And it's saying all of these, like, there's maybe 15% of it is not corrupt, but the large majority of it, like the whole supply chain of data centers, the situation of this. It's saying Nvidia, is a company that makes, and they're very legit. Their chips are legit, but the way that they go around this circular financing, meaning they invest in all these companies that are sort of surrounding them, to say, as if to say, look, this is huge, this is forever. But if you have to pay for give them everything, then there's no real demand. Doesn't make sense. So it's a combination of essentially lack of demand, because everything is circular, right? Lack of demand, and lack of real demand, right? Massive, massive, massive speculation, and people are making money again from the stock market, pumps and dumps. They're moving markets by making these wild claims by AI. Again, some of it is true. It's useful, but definitely not to the extent that we're being sold. So and then I see this, like, these warehouses being empty, and only a few, like, almost like, again, below 10% of the area inside the actual warehouse is being filled with these things, with the the things that they need to be plugged into electricity and so forth. So as the stock market bubble starts to collapse, and there's nothing, there's no there, they have to pull the plug. And I see that, and I see, like, these people that it's like they're left with holding the bags, right? So, like, their hands are, and I see blood, but why is it blood? It's just something liquid. It's saying it was bullshit. And there are massive losses connected to this. And it's saying it just so turns out that a lot of these people are connected to the Trump administration, the large majority of them, and they are going down, and they're going to be stuck with these losses. So that's good. Now, and I see that people are, again, celebrating, and almost like something about there's going to be bankruptcy proceedings related to this. And somehow I see, it shows me Kamala again, and we winning the right to the land that was sold to these data centers, so that people can recoup and start to live again without being compromised by this bullshit, right? So, anyways, so let's see, but let's see what I'll call to say here. Okay, let's get started. All right. Interesting. I find it interesting. I find it interesting. All right, let's go. Let's go. Hey ho, let's go. Hey ho, let's go. I could tell I'm excited. I'm so excited. And I just so tell me the people versus the AI data centers and the bubble collapse. Yeah. So, but basically, people versus AI data centers. How does this progress forward? Interesting for me. I don't use Terra very much. I tend to be more Lenormand, but I realize I like this method where I mix the different methods. because in a lot of ways, tarot, I don't like when people are like, I don't interpret, I see, it is literal. But this card, it's interesting because this is a card of this woman and the resources, and it's all earth. It's the garden. It's the things of the earth, and she's a successful woman. And she's surrounded by abundance. Now, in a way, this is a minor arcana card that is a somewhat, would you say, a minor arcana version of the Empress card, right? And here, when I have upside down, it's like and if we see women as earth, right? As the guardians of resources in a way, because women cook and feed people, right? So our resources are compromised, right? Like, we're fighting for our survival, the resources that we need to live also, right? It's not joking. So it's upside down. So here we have then the star. The star is your dream or achieving the goal. The Fool is a new beginning, but also if it's upside down, it could be a mistake. So we have to change. In other words, there has to be a new beginning. And here is people fighting. So the women are fighting for the survival of the species, basically. And we're pushing for a new beginning because this is not working. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Losses. This is interesting because this card is also related to hacking, right? Because the idea is that the rat's not at cables. Here is the key, something important. The talking chatter also could be the people protesting, talking about it, and news. So also could be losses important. They're bringing attention to the losses by talking. So the important losses are being talked about. And there's so important conversations, important chatter becomes the news or comes out, right, as being the news. Okay. So now let's go. What else? Here. Let's do now here the German cards. Okay, so here is private, interesting. Won't see my living room. But I think in the context of what we're discussing, it's like people's living, right? Private, your private space is being compromised by these things, Oh, here is recognition. Something comes out about the living room coming. People recognize the courts. Interesting. People are suing. That's right. They're suing, they're protesting in their own ways. Oh, here the women, interesting, young women or women with this is also like in a way it's related to that card I showed you, the Nine of Pentacles. The women with resources, right? Also interesting in this context is younger women. It doesn't necessarily have to do with age, but it's that sense of fierceness. Okay. All right. So here's the Italian. And it's, guys, the cards are really being very interesting. Now here is the man, lover, the male upside down. Here we have, again, interesting, Lord, the powerful man. Conversation upside down. And interesting here because we have right in the line of the birds, which is the conversation. So, all right, here, gift. Now, again, I think this is corruption, right? So fighting, news about fighting from the women who oppose the corruption, right? And here we have to talk about a new beginning. Legally, we're having these conversations, and the conversations are affecting politics. So, and I get this interesting, very strong feeling, right? That the women are the ones leading the charge here. They are the ones saying, no, no thanks, no bitch. I don't think so. No, 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 no. Interesting por mil chance. Interesting por mil chance. Okay, so how does this story end? What happens to the data centers? Hmm? Hmm? What happens? I had the visions, but let's see here. What happens? Data centers are great. I want data center near me. I'm going to make sure I look up where there's a data center. I'm going to live there, said no one ever. Because I'm very great. I believe in data center. I believe in. Okay, so interesting for me. Okay. Wow, look, Queen of Wands upside. Yeah, they're angry. They're doing something about it. You know, it's interesting. For some reason I'm thinking. I keep thinking of Louise and Kathy because they talk. Okay, here 'cause Louise always talk about the divine feminine. Lovers, love is in the air, so there's connections, there's alliances. Moving on from disappointment. Oh no, really, really? Oh, defeat. Yes, who created defeat? Defeat them. Oh yeah, see you later, alligator. Go live near a data center. See you later. Like, I would love if these people that push this actually decided to, like, if they actually believed in data centers, they should live there. Then your love or the values, right? The values change things. It's change, card of positive change. Now, this is also a card of experience, retirement, and peace. Women again, women are fighting, and it's interesting. It's connected to women as guardians of the land. Okay, here is work, work, working. I working. We're again working women, and this, by the way, this card is about women over the age of 40. So women of all ages, huh? Oh no, here's the man with the money on the table, right? The rich man. And here they have to deal with disappointment. It's a card of moving on. They have to move on. They have to move on from disappointment. And here's hope, card of hope and vision, but it's also a card of illusion, right? So you can also argue that here the creating the defeat, the women create the defeat. Both you could interpret as because they have a hopeful vision for the future, but they also defeat something that is ultimately an illusion, right? Because it's not necessary as data centers. Here's a servant. Okay, this could be good. It's a neutral card in terms of position. Here we have the messenger. Have a message for you from and oh no, the rich guy has death. Oh no, sad for him. Has to move with disappointment. He decides he thinks too hard. That is over for him. It's over. Here, the priest also into the Pope. No, just kidding. It's the law. The law is over. We legally win against them. So that we have a message. Now it's interesting because the servant, you could also interpret the servant as being the person who's quote unquote lower class, which is anybody who's not a billionaire. Billionaire. He's not a billionaire. So the non-billionaire people send a message that is, here is coming, that is coming, right? It's over for them because in a way, you could even think that the priest is like we have the spiritual righteousness and the legal righteousness. So that's it. So here is interesting, like alliances, right? Change. Women send a message. Here you have women are angry. They care about their values. They work together as a collective to send these people. They're defeated. That's right. They're defeated because of something. So I have a question now. What happens with these men? It's mostly men, right, that are pushing the data centers. I did a great guy. What about David? I love David Sachs. He's wonderful. No, I don't. I do not love him. No, David Sachs is a great guy. He really is. No. So sad for him. So really, what happens to these people that are like pushing down our throats this thing? What happens to them? They're great. What happens to these people, huh? What's gonna happen to them? What's gonna happen to them? Huh? Huh? Oh, look, this is we're happy. Something good happening here. Okay, the celebration upside down. So they may not celebrate here. Moving on. They have to move on, move on, move along. Magician. Ooh, magician. Magician. Okay, so we have magic, huh? This is also the Holy Spirit, right? Do we have something on our side here that is bigger than them? Opportunity. Public. Now, this is a guard, is also the public space. Okay, opportunity, public space. Because a community, right? The dog is always good. It means a friend or a good person. Secret. Interesting. We have secrets about them, the bad people, really? You don't say. All right, so here we have again, this is a happiness and love. So love wins, huh? Change. This is a card of a big change. And now, this is in the system, Kipper, German, it's originally German. If you think of the 19th century, people rarely moved. So when there is something described as change, it meant that it was very significant. So there's a happy change here. Oh, big fortune, new beginning. So there's a new beginning again. Oh, and I'm getting, guys, I'm getting the message, auditory message saying that the change is coming, but the wealth is not the money. The wealth is nature in that sense. Okay. Oh, here. Oh, no. No, no, no. Prison? They go to prison. They have to go to prison. I'm very sad. Finally, some good news. Oh, here, friend. Again, interesting, right? Where's the dog? The dog is here. Another friend. Now, lots of good people. Good people are here. Good people together. There's hope. Okay. Bring hope. Okay. And here's now business associates. Oh, it could be the bad people again. When we have secrets, this is a new beginning. And we have alliances. As a saint. It tells me they learn to respect us because we don't let ourselves be. We don't allow them to dictate what's going to happen. It's saying they're not going to win. And I see the plug is going to be pulled because we need the water and we need the electricity not to be so expensive. So interesting. So that's it. So anything else? That's it. It shows me the plug being pulled. And again, guys, this is not. I know there's people who like AI or whatever. We're fine before this thing, and we're fine after this thing. Most of it is just bullshit. You have to remember this, and it's created by circular financing. So okay, all right. So interesting informations. I think. All right. So have a good night. Love you guys. Bye.